Hello again, everyone. It's Jerry, Old Guys Review, with a requested video. I guess we can call it Ask a Question, Get an Answer, and we can use the Indigo Creek Trading Company. Hello, Steve. This has come up a few times, and I know there's lots of videos on YouTube about doing this, but I thought I'd kind of explain it a little bit, show you a couple examples, and show you a nice example that comes out of the owner's book for the MST CFXW-W. It's about phasing drive shafts. Now, everybody goes into these long, lengthy explanations. Well, I'm going to do a quick and easy demonstration. So here's a drive shaft. This is one of many designs. This is not going to necessarily work for, are you going to friggin' zoom? For some of these CV style cup drive shafts. But it's going to work for your standard drive shaft because this works in the RC world and the civilian world. I'm just going to bring this camera over here because it's just being a piece of technology. All right. So, that's my bad example. So basically, this is a phased drive shaft. You look at the eyelet right here, and you look at this eyelet. You want to always have those eyelets identical, because this is a two-piece shaft, and just as a rule of thumb, when I'm using this standard side, because this kind of drive shaft right here is just like a real car, so when this rotates, right now both sides are exactly the same mass. Now we could get kind of scientific, but when this spins, they are equally weighted on both sides. But an unphased drive shaft, like this one, let's extend it. Let's move it the same way. So you've got this eyelet that way. Now this one is completely different. And that, all that is pulling it out and putting it back in the right way. So when it spins, this side is going to spin different. The mass is moving differently than the mass is moving here because of the direction. This one, all the mass spins the same way. But this, you don't think it's a big thing. But on a full-size vehicle, an unphased drive shaft will just wobble because the masses are rotating different than each side. And I can honestly say that if you build drive shafts like most of the kits show you in the book, you'll do it right. But if you take it apart, you're working on it for any reason, doing some axle work, then there's a good chance that, instead of taking everything apart, you've just pulled your drive shafts apart. Well, your wheels turned, and you started off with this, but then when you get back together, you're going to be cattywampus like that one is. And it doesn't seem like a big thing. And I've only noticed one time on one vehicle, what was it? My Element Enduro Sendero. That I put it back together and they were out of phase. And you'll notice your truck, the front end was it was shaking while it was driving. The back end was fine. And it gave me a little bit of a hiccup because I didn't pay attention. But you went from very poor driving right off the bat where you could see the front end just shaking and you were like, what the hell? It's not driving very fast. Some vehicles, it will make a big difference. But what I noticed while I was building the CFX W kit is MST, they could show you just this picture and say, there's your drive shaft. You'd put it together right. But they make an extra point of pointing out how it looks if it's wrong, which I thought was fabulous. The other kits just take it for granted that you're going to put it together according to the instructions. So if you ever take your truck apart, you want to always make sure that it's like that. Now with the cupped axles, I don't think it's as big of an issue, but whenever I've built those, I just always ensure, the cupped axles just have the one hole to screw it on. Because it's pretty cut and dry when you make the knuckle section of it. But I always just make sure that this one and this one have the holes in the exact same spot, and I put the little grub nut, or grub screw, whatever we want to call those. I always make sure they're both on the same side, just because of the real car world. I just make sure that the mass is equal all the way across, so I don't have that kind of problem. I don't know, I've never really experimented to see if that, with those cupped axles, or CVD style drive shafts, as I like to call them, I've never noticed if that does make a difference of swapping those grub screws. But you've got, I think there's floating around about 3 different styles for building drive shafts. So this style, which is more scale, these are out of the King Kong one. So I maybe, as much problem as I'm having with that truck, I'm going to put those back together right. So there it is. I thought it'd be quicker than that. But Steve, there you go. Some phase drive shaft stories from Jerry's Old Guy Review. Thanks, everyone. Till the next one.